Are you a fan of fans?
Of course, why wouldn't I be?
I just wanted to prepare everyone for the inevitable puns in this video. So fans, they come in many varieties for similar uses. Some use them to create a breeze, others find them fashionable. But did you know they're popular on the field of battle?
I don't know why they're so popular. I just use my fan on a hot day to cool myself off.
Well, these warriors found a way to weaponize your harmless tool, showing us maybe you're using your fan incorrectly.
What do you mean I'm using my fan wrong?
I mean, we'll be discussing the characters that found the best way to fight with a fan.
You're using your fan wrong.
Go sit in the corner until the intro is over.
I'm sassy, I interrupt you.
We'll be judging these characters based on how well they can use their fans up close and from afar, how many they can utilize at once, and any magic or wind powers they can produce using their fan. For the most part, these fans will be based on handheld fans, but maybe we'll fit in some unconventional uses of the desk fan on this list. So let's catch wind of the top 10 characters that fight with fans. Number 10, Chi-Chi, or technically Goku in the anime, the wielder of the Bancho fan in Dragon Ball. Chi-Chi fought with it in video game appearances, but first, the history of the weapon itself. When the Bancho fan was first mentioned in Dragon Ball, it was shrouded in mystery, with legends stating this magic fan can raise a typhoon with 1 swing, a thunderstorm with 2, and a monsoon with 3. It was initially needed when Mount Frypan, the home of Chi-Chi and the Ox King, was engulfed in flames. So in order to save Mount Frypan from burning to the...
Are you saying Mount Frying Pan?
Yes.
Why?
Because the mountain was renamed after the Ox King voluntarily allowed it to be set on fire by a wizard.
Why?
Because the Ox King wanted to keep out intruders and the average intruder is not fireproof.
Okay.
Long story short, the only way to put out the fire was with the Bancho fan, but they couldn't since the holder of the Bancho fan, Master Roshi, threw it out after he spilled wonton soup on it because he thought it was a placemat. However, he made up for it by putting out the fire himself, by destroying the mountain with the first ever seen Kamehameha wave.
Master Roshi is so irresponsible.
Hey, he made sure there was no fire in the end and that's all that matters. Plus he can just make another fan. He wrote down directions, which he allegedly made when he was drunk, so not helping me defend you here much, Roshi. Anyway, we finally saw the Bancho fan used at the end of the series when Mount Frypan was kindled once more. This time though, the Ox King was stuck inside, protecting his deceased wife's wedding dress that Chi-Chi was going to wear for her wedding day. So Goku and Chi-Chi had to get a new Bancho fan to put out the fire, which was eventually successful after a series of failings and new destinations and happily ever after. And now for the main reason I made this entry. While it could be an offensive tool in the anime, with Chi-Chi being drastically underpowered compared to other characters in the series, in her seldom fighting game appearances, she uses the Bancho fan as a weapon in an attempt to even the playing field, giving both adult Chi-Chi in Super Dragon Ball Z and kid Chi-Chi in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 a nice offensive tool.
Can you just hit people with it, or does it do anything special?
That's just a minor way to use it. In Super Dragon Ball Z, she creates a wind projectile and it's involved in her Windstorm super moves, which is exactly how I'd like to see the Bancho fan used if it were to reappear in a modern DBZ fighting game. Kid Chi-Chi used it to create and reflect ki blasts, a more minor use.
See, aren't you glad I asked? Us the fans would never know.
Huh? Fans? Can I start up the pun count board now?
Oh, yeah, don't even get me started.
Number 9. Tiger's beautiful daughter from Marvel Comics. No, I'm not trying to compliment the offspring of some person named Tiger. That's her actual superhero name. However, she is from Tiger Island, and her father was called Tiger Warrior, and she is his beautiful daughter, so her name is not random. She regularly is allied with Iron Fist, part of his team known as the 7 Immortal Weapons. Once again, we may have a confusing name here since the weapon in that team name does not refer to Tiger's fans, but rather Tiger herself. The immortal weapons are the titles of the warriors who can manipulate their chi to turn themselves into living weapons, like how Iron Fist's fists are registered lethal weapons. Her non-metaphorical weapons, being her fans, are her key battle strategy, along with some spears. These fans are great for hacking and slashing, and that's about it for the fans. However, she takes that short list of fan-based skills and maximizes how many badass ways she can use them. As for her primary outfit, when not wearing her kimono-style Empress robe, she sure loves wearing belts. Lots of belts.
More so than the average person. I want to see it from behind, but let's find one of those.
Let's save that for the after-hours version of this video.
Woohoo!
Disclaimer, there is no after-hours version of this video.
Bonus disclaimer, Tiger's beautiful daughter doesn't turn around very much either.
Number 8. Hamushi from Outlaw Star. Her fan can deflect bullets by simply swatting them, and it allows her to send out some sweet unspecified sci-fi magic waves. She hardly moves, since she is so adept with this weapon. For something that sounds so cool, why don't I remember her doing anything in this anime?
You don't remember her because she was only on the show for like 3 minutes, and then she was sucked into that black ball thingy from the caster, and then went, and then Gene went, and then half his life energy was gone.
And that crush noise my co-host made when describing Hamushi's death was the character being absorbed by having her body ripped apart and turned inside out.
Did you enjoy the sound effects?
My god, that's brutal. I don't even think she saw that coming, mostly because her eyes are always obscured. I'm glad I was given less than half an episode to get to know this villain and see her powers for the first and last time. Nice character development.
She was in the show earlier, but that's just when they introduce the characters and they don't show you what they do. They're just there, and you know they're bad. That's it.
Number 7. Rotom from Pokemon. Rotom is the Pokemon that basically brings a gun to a fist fight. He brings man-made technology into a battle when most others are just using their natural ability or things they find on the ground. Except Porygon, he is the man-made technology. Rotom is an electrical ghost that possesses appliances which assist him in fighting by becoming a part of him. He sheds his ghost type and gets a new type relating to the tool he engulfed, and gets a move relating to the machine. The fan makes him part flying type, and gives him the move Air Slash. Unfortunately for fan Rotom, he has a disadvantage compared to the other Rotom forms. While Air Slash is a pretty good move, Rotom's ability is Levitate. This makes the Pokemon resistant to ground-type moves, and if you're flying-type, you're naturally resistant to ground-type moves, so the fan makes your ability null and void by turning Rotom part flying-type. That being said, don't get discouraged if you do like fan form Rotom, since there are still some good strategies you can utilize with him. Plus, he has spinning metal blades which are dangerous on their own. Don't put your finger too close to them. Number 6. Yukiko Amagi from Persona. Yukiko's main tools of fighting include fans and fire. What? That's not the element of nature we normally see with fans. Way to break the mold and not just be another wind user with a fan, Yukiko. While Yukiko is better known for her RPG playstyle in Persona 4, some fondly know her as a fighting game character, including myself. Yukiko is the first of various fan-using fighting game characters on this list who carry around a surplus of fans on them despite having no visible space on their body to hold all of them, infinitely throwing fans and seemingly pulling them from another dimension.
That's a great way to get them through customs. Shh.
Besides endlessly throwing them, Yukiko has a good amount of direct hits with the fans that look quite elegant, reflecting her sophisticated demeanor. Outside of that, her fans fit her aesthetic when performing her fire magic attacks, allowing her to sit back and look pretty when her persona assists in the fight or when the field is blazing with her firepower. Number 5. Anji Mito from Guilty Gear. Anji's fighting style is all about traditional dance moves from his homeland, wind, and a tiny bit of magic. His fans occasionally leave his hands, but for the most part they are a catalyst for his magic and wind-based power that can still hurt up close. The magic of his suppressing fans was only meant to be used to control and keep a barrier up, which coincidentally is useful in battle. One wave of his fan can produce a powerful wind blast that improves his abilities or just deals direct damage. His most interesting design choice is that unique kanji appear on his fans during different attacks, usually reflecting the nature of the attack itself. Like when he releases the wind that upgrades his skills, the fans read Fujin for Wind God, which is also the name of the attack. Or when he sends out his Butterfly of Destruction, the kanji of Shitsu appears, meaning rapidness. Then there are some kanji on attacks that don't relate to the action Anji is performing. Like here, he has the kanji that translates to water. And here he has the kanji of Sakura, which means cherry blossoms, but there's no hydration or blossoms to speak of with these hits. I guess if all of his normal attacks just had the kanji for hit, it isn't as fun. Either way, check out how many things his fans say to you next time you pick up Anji in Guilty Gear. Number 4. Temari from Naruto. There are a few fan wielders in Naruto, but Temari is the most prominent and carries the biggest of them all. A fan of that stature is naturally great at being a blunt object to hit people with and a shield, but let's talk about her mastery of wind, which is her main skill with the fan. At its greatest strength, the fan can produce a tornado with winds fast and precise enough to trap and cut the opponent as if it was filled with razor blades. The force of the wind can fight for her alone as she controls space with it and nullifies enemy weapons thrown towards her. Temari controls her wind power with limits on her fan, so every attack is not some massive whirlwind. It's like she can raise the difficulty level on her opponent. Her wind power varies based on how many circles, or stars as she calls them, are visible as she opens her fan wider, being restricted with 1 star and maxing out when all are seen.
Yeah, I see. There's one there, and one there, and another one there.
Do you have a comment of substance or just a casual observation? Come on, it's a giant folding fan she can carry on her back. You can think of a good comparison.
So it's kind of like a boomerang, like the sound goes.
Get ready. Kilala, here we go!
Save the Inuyasha references for the inevitable Kagura segment. Okay, who's next? Number 3. Kagura from Inuyasha.
Now I can make an Inuyasha reference.
Alright, how would you describe Kagura?
The best Inuyasha character ever.
Hey, stop stealing my lines. Kagura is the best character ever. Well, maybe not, but she's my favorite from the series. Mostly because of the character herself, but let's go over the fan stuff first. All of her fan abilities seem to relate to wind spells cast by waving her fan a certain way. Her signature move is Fujin no Mai, or Dance of Blades.
Fujin no Mai. Fujin no Mai.
It creates razor-sharp wind that keeps enemies at bay. A stronger variant of this attack is her Dance of the Dragon, which results in a more tornado-like gust of wind that can pick up other objects to cut her opponent with in the flurry. Her most unique ability is that she can control corpses using her fan with her Dance of the Dead technique, making great meat puppets and forcing you to get through hordes of people if you dare try to touch her. As for the origin of these skills, Kagura was just kind of born with these fan powers since she was created using a piece of main villain Naraku's body. However, he must have created her using his appendix or something since she basically wants no part of his crew.
She's a rebellious teenager.
Kagura's just annoyed that her boss spends however many months trying to capture the same group of people with the same results that defaults in her having to take the field before he sends the same miasma and bees.
Wasps.
Wasps that never fail but never fully defeat the good guys, so we result in the same status quo when we're back to square one. Plus, it doesn't help that Kagura's only friends are a girl with no emotions. My life is a lie, please look into my mirror. And a teenage boy with teenage problems who's embedded in guilt that he killed most of his family under mind control. Kagura just wants to sit home all day and watch TV in peace, none of this evil stuff.
What are you basing nothing bad on.
It's just what she likes to do. She wouldn't be evil if she wasn't at risk of being killed by Naraku if she dares defy him. Well, she seems like she'd be a little evil, but not to the extent of killing people. She'd probably just do something bad like shoplifting. She only has a high kill count because Kagura is the only being in this series that gets work done. Naraku's like, go kill this guy, and Kagura's like, well, I'll die if I don't, and I'm good at violence, so I guess I'll do it. She basically goes up to Koga and says, alright Koga, I was told to get the jewel shards in your legs, so I'm ripping them out manually. Plus, you've been a nuisance for about 30 episodes more than you needed to be, so let's get this over with already. See, it shows off the various ways her fans can slice and takes care of that plot point. Number 2, Kitana from Mortal Kombat. This 10,000-year-old warrior princess covers all of her bases with her ancient bladed fans made of steel, which are ultimately Japanese war fans when you think about it, but she's not from Earth, so I guess they're Edenian war fans. It doesn't matter where they're from. They're fans, they're sharp, they kill, end of story. While the fighting game element of Mortal Kombat shows her throwing unlimited fans during a match, it's implied that during the fight, she only holds 2 main fans that somehow make it back to her hands, Suzy and the Enforcer. Fine, they don't actually have names, I just thought they sounded better with some. These fans are great for slicing point blank, both closed and open at full force, and they do great from a distance. They cut vertically, they impale. They're perfect for creating the violence that Mortal Kombat demands. She also pulls out a windstorm to keep her opponent in the air so she can get in a free combo, or just throw a fan at them. You know a fan's gonna be involved when Kitana's opponent is wide open. For the visuals, Kitana's posing game is on point. Give her credit on how well she photo ops with her fans. I guess being alive for 10,000 years gives you time to practice your intros. She's committed to her win poses too. She'll wink at the camera after a victory even if her eye can barely open from getting punched so much. This is why she leads that Edenian Charlie's Angels group that she created in her MK9 arcade mode ending. Can we get a follow-up to that someday? Like Shaolin Monks 2 but with the Edenian Charlie's Angels instead. For number 1, while this list is not exclusive to fighting games, I decided on a fighting game character, since that's where I first saw fans used as a weapon, along with Rush Hour. So why not go with who I believe is the first fighting game character to use them, even before Kitana. Number 1, Mai Shiranui from Fatal Fury and King of Fighters. Mai's main tools of fighting include fans and fire. I guess I jumped the gun on calling Yukiko the Mold Breaker since Mai has the seniority. She combines her fire in her weapon with her pyrokinesis powers that allow her to channel fire into about anything. As a result, these fiery blasts appear as she waves her fan all about, having it look like the breeze is made of flames. In reality, she can set anything ablaze with just a touch. She brings new meaning to fanning the flames. Now I see why SNK called Mai their hottest character.
Haha, funny.
Alright, enough of the remarks, Senator Sarcasm.
See, we're fun on this channel.
Many of Mai's other fan-based moves involve her throwing and slicing with the fan as a blade. The official name of her weapons are Kancho-sen, or butterfly fans. However, when researching on what butterfly fans actually are, I only found actual fans in the shapes of butterflies or ones with a butterfly design on them, so I'm going to conclude butterfly fans were created in 1992, when SNK needed a name for the fans used by their new playable character in Fatal Fury 2, Mai Shiranui.
Where did she get all those fans?
I don't have a clear answer for you. When accessing her Kancho-sen, she seems to have an unlimited amount in varying places. Sometimes in her tunic, other times in her ample bosom, and if all else fails, she just produces them out of nothing with pure fighting game logic. Or maybe she's just made of magic, since she's capable of immaculate 2-second long clothing changes and pulls parasols and baby dolls from thin air. I'm going with that one.
But like...
Made of magic.
Okay, I accept it.
Despite her excess of fans, she always likes to have 2 on standby in her hands, and if she ever needs a hand free, she just puts a fan in her mouth. Ah, the taste of cold steel.
They're delicious.
Wait, how would you know what those fans taste like?
I eat them.
Overall, Mai combines many aspects we've seen from other entries, fighting up close, combining fans with her own martial arts skills, throwing fans, and using an element of nature with the fan, making her a solid #1 pick. So what did you think of these choices? Did you like them all, or were there some fan wielders that I left off who you think deserve some credit? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, thank you all for watching. It's been a while since we had some outtakes after the main video, so stay tuned for those in about 5 seconds, and we will see you in the next video. Besides that, Yukiko looks quite stylish with a plethora of fire-based attacks.
Oh my god, so she's like Sailor Mars. See the resemblance.
Somehow it always comes back to Sailor Moon with you, is that the case?
I like that show. There's a whole bunch of buckles right there.
A Rotom once broke my toaster when it jumped into it and then jumped out about 5 seconds later when it realized there was no bread type in Pokemon. So after I recorded everything for this video, a viewer called Foggy1121 asked if I could make a video on this topic and used my #1 choice as an example. Since I made this video on my own and not based on any previous requests, I can only conclude that this comment predicted the future. Congratulations!